Well, if it isn't My Sims Cozy Bundle releasing and breaking the internet. But with this type of nostalgic hype, it can be difficult to know if a re-release is actually worth it. So by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what to expect if you're thinking about purchasing this game. And also, it's important to know that this is coming from someone who is deeply nostalgic for the My Sims and Sims franchise in general. So despite how nostalgic and attached I am to this, I found some things that were very difficult to put up with. So the first game in the bundle is My Sims. You are in a town that you can choose what to name. We called it Bubbly Town on stream, and you're in charge of restoring it to its former glory. You can customize your character with 3 skin tones. Too much options, right? A handful of hairstyles, hair colors, and some fun pre-made outfits, accessories, and tones of voice. I love the outfits here. It took me like 60 days to choose which one I wanted on stream.
One eternity later.
Once you're done, the mayor is gonna show you around, and when she's leading you to your non-existent home, you learn how to create buildings and furniture, which I'm gonna explain in detail because that comes with so many frustrations. But let me tell you about the gameplay loop first. It's very repetitive, but it's also gonna let you know exactly what to expect here. Sims around the town are gonna need some furniture from you to better their shops, while new ones are gonna come to the hotel and you can invite them to move in. New Sims are gonna have a shop that they want, or they're gonna be more regular style of Sims and they have different preferences for their home, and they're more so just looking for a new town to move into, so they won't have a shop. Shop owners need a sign to be placed outside of the building, and with each shop you will unlock some new items that you can place outside that caters a little bit to the style of shop that you're building right now. When you're done, the owner will move in and have around 3 furniture pieces that they need to complete the interior. Once you're done, you move on to the next, rinse and repeat. All Sims have different primary and secondary interests, which fall into one of the following categories: cute, spooky, geeky, fun, tasty, and studious. Sims will prefer their primary and secondary interests to be fulfilled, so you're gonna need to decorate their shop or home's interior and exterior using items and essences that fit into their personality. And once you make their ultimate space, you're gonna become BFFs, and they'll reward you with special blueprints and outfits. So what are these essences that I just mentioned? You know how in a lot of cozy and farming games that we play these days, you have a lot of resources to gather to craft different blueprints? Well, in this game, you use something called essences. These are collected by harvesting flowers, apples, etc., or even socializing with Sims, as well as taking part in activities that they're doing by joining them. So the essences here extend away from just things that you can touch. Then these essences can be used to color your furniture and create fun patterns. Each essence will give you 4 swatches. These are 2 colors and 2 patterns. These same essences will fulfill different Sims interests. So for example, a cute interest is fulfilled by using the purple crayon essence. These can be found through prospecting, which is this game's version of treasure hunting, where you use a metal detector and you follow the beeping sound until you get loads of red rings and you can dig up treasure. Now the main goal here is to progress the town so you can get more stars, and the ultimate goal is to get a total of 5 stars. Each time you get a new star, you unlock a new tool that gives you access to new areas. For example, at rank 2, you get access to the forest because now you have an axe, so you can chop down the big tree that was blocking the way. And in the forest, you're gonna get access to new items to prospect and new trees that you can harvest and plant, as well as new fish to catch. Fishing is pretty easy here. You move towards the bubbles and quickly press A to catch the fish. So the gameplay loop is pretty easy and simple here, but my big issue was pretty much the controls and the freaking camera. These made the game almost impossible for me to play. I don't know why EA did not utilize motion controls with the Joy-Cons. This is such a big shame. Instead, you can either play in handheld mode, where you can use the touchscreen for some stuff, and then you can use the Joy-Cons for others, or you can play in docked mode, where the right stick on your Joy-Con acts a little bit like your hand. So that's how they replaced the Wii remote if you've played that version of My Sims. When building furniture, you have a wide number of structures varying in sizes, and you're filling in this ghost shape with the necessary structures. The game will mark what you need, which makes the process a lot easier, but placing these structures in the right place is so annoying, and most annoying of all is rotating them left and right and then up and down. You do so using the left Joy-Con, but I cannot count how many times I was meaning to turn things left and right, but instead the controller was registering things as up and down. So that slows down your process of decorating and putting furniture together, and when you see the sheer amount of items that you can actually create, this is again such a shame to see because I just couldn't play for the life of me because the whole process was very tedious. I got frustrated and I just stopped, and the only reason that I got to as far as I can is because I used handheld mode and the touchscreen as much as I can, and honestly, if you want to play this game, I highly recommend that you use that. Also, the camera controls in the first game are a recipe for nausea and motion sickness, and I know a lot of you in the bubbly community have the same motion sickness that I deal with. Even when you zoom the camera in and out, it's still relatively very close to your character. Usually people like us play around with a FOV or field of view, but this accessibility option does not exist in this game. And this situation is the worst when you're prospecting. The areas are pretty small, so you kind of move in circles or back and forth, and the camera still moves around a lot, so prospecting was an absolute nightmare. Additionally, the gameplay loop will get repetitive very quickly, so this game will not appeal to people who do not enjoy decoration. I'm in my decorating phase recently, especially because of Coral Island and Disney Dreamlight Valley, but the controls again in this game make things very hard, so I found myself gathering essences, building whatever it is a Sims needs with the bare minimum of effort put in, and getting over with it so I can go to the next Sims. And that's not the best way to experience games in my opinion. Back in the day, my motion sickness was not as bad as it is right now, so I could tolerate it, but now in the state, guys, it was really hard to play.
Tugsy!
But enough about My Sims, the bundle comes with MySims Kingdom as well, and that one was my favorite of the two for many reasons. Funny enough, I did not play this as a kid, so this was interesting to play. In this one, you become a wandelier. Wandelier? Chandelier? Yeah, that, but with a wand. And this is because King Roland has a contest to choose his new royal, but make it a wand, and the wizard Marlin hands over this magical scepter that lets you build and move big objects around. You still collect essences, but this time these are used to unlock new scrolls that give you access to new building designs, shapes, furniture, etc. And with a story-based focus, you have this map where you travel with your companions. You have Buddy, who you're gonna be familiar with from the first game because he was the manager at the hotel, and then also you have a lot of previous characters coming back to this game. You also have Lindsay, an explorer at heart, and together you're gonna visit new islands, each with a set of Sims that have their own troubles and worries. By using the power of your scepter, you're helping them rebuild what was lost to regain their town's glory, one by one, which in turn gives you king points. They're kind of like the stars in the first game, but here they're called king points. Each level gives you access to new islands, outfits, and scrolls. So in the beginning, you have the Cowboy Junction and Renee's Nature Preserve. In the Cowboy Junction, for example, you're helping Gino. Yes, he's come from the first game, so it's really nice to see him again, and you're gonna help him restore his famous pizza tour. So the first task is restoring his flour mill. To do that, you get a scroll telling you what essences you need to unlock gears that in turn are gonna run his flour mill. Once you collect them, Lindsay will redeem the essences and unlock the new items for you. Then you get these ghost items that reveal where the items should go, but you're gonna unlock various sizes for these objects, so this acts like a little puzzle that you need to figure out and choose the right sizes to put together. Now, what about the essences in MySims Kingdom? These are scattered around the world just like the first one. By joining in activities that Sims are doing, or fishing, mining, shaking trees, cutting them down, using your prospector to hunt for treasure, etc., you're gonna get the necessary essences. But in this one, you also use your mana to power the scepter and use it. So every item you place requires a number of mana points. You can collect those by deleting stuff in the world or harvesting them while collecting your essences, and if you run out a lot like I did, then you can transmute some essences with Lindsay and turn them into mana. Building here was a lot easier, thank the Lord, and it made the process a lot more enjoyable, but it still had the finicky controls, and I'm really happy that the game doesn't really focus on crafting furniture. So you can expect to get used to the controls in about 2 to 3 hours of playing. You can use the up and down arrows on the D-pad to switch between the tools, and you still use the Joy-Cons to move things around. You can also use the touch screen if you want to, but again, rotating stuff is a lot easier, and you can still decorate the inside of buildings here as well. I also found myself getting motion sick in this one, but it was at a lesser rate than My Sims. It was a lot easier here. You can also fish in this one, but it is very different from the first game. Here, you're gonna throw the line and wait for a fish to bite. Then you wait for the bobber to go under the water, then you click A to grab it. There were a lot of times where I was fishing for a lot longer than necessary because it would just take forever for a fish to bite, which was quite annoying, especially when many scrolls required multiple fish essences at a time. So what are some fun factors in this game? Before we get into that, hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. If this video is helpful, squish the like and subscribe buttons so the YouTube algorithm finds more cozy friends that might be interested in My Sims. So about these fun factors, in these two games, they come in the form of variety of Sims you're gonna meet who are so cute and adorable. They're also really funny, the humor is very cute, they all have their own activities that you're free to join and get some new essences out of. You're also gonna see them interact with each other, like sometimes they'll make each other scared or sad, for example. Again, this gives you new essences, and this all ties into collecting the variety of essences in these games. They're pretty fun, and that invites you to experiment and try different things to see what kind of new essence you will unlock from what. A shot for every time I had to say essence in that paragraph. I also like these stories in MySims Kingdom. They're very wholesome with characters that are so over the top and fun to get to know. The Sims don't have needs, so you don't have to worry about that, and these games are designed to be played in bite-sized sessions, which is perfect for a lot of us. But the real question is My Sims Cozy Bundle the game for you? We're gonna go with this game is for you if, not for you if, and my verdict. These games are for you if you are nostalgic for them. Playing them for the first time in 15 to 17 years was such a beautiful feeling. They're for you if you always wanted to get into Sims, but you hate the fact that you need to look after their needs. They're also for you if you want a simple, cozy gaming experience without too many complications and insane crafting resource requirements. Both are pretty straightforward. And they're for you if you want a different type of cozy game, perhaps something a little bit more simplistic than Animal Crossing, with room for things like patterns, coloring, decorating, and building. However, these games are not the game for you if, first and foremost, you're like me and you have motion sickness and cannot tolerate bad camera controls or regular controls in general. They're also not for you if nostalgia is not that great of a factor for you to go off of and you want like this revolutionary cozy game with groundbreaking mechanics. And they're not for you if you don't like very linear and straightforward game progression because you get easily bored from short and simple gameplay loops. As for me, you've seen me scream about this in my news roundups and my upcoming games videos, so I was so excited to finally play this. But the more that I played and the more I quickly realized that the controls were an issue back in the day and they still are today, making gameplay so tedious, it was just such a turnoff. In a time where there are so many accessibility options in games, it felt good to revisit these Sims games and spend more time in these worlds, but if I were to complete any of those, it would be Kingdom and not the first My Sims game. The motion sickness inducing camera also made my experience pretty unpleasant. It's also just as important for you to realize that this game is just not for everybody, and even as someone who is attached to this title for nostalgic reasons, it's funny how I ended up enjoying the one that I never played before the most. So I'd say I really wish more time was given to make the controls and the camera better. Graphics and performance are clearly a lot better, so I don't know why EA didn't spend a little bit more time figuring out these controls and giving us a more tolerable experience. So let me know, are you playing My Sims? If you are, let me know what's your experience so far, and thank you as always to my YouTube and Bubbly patrons who make videos like this possible, and a shout out goes to the Game Time Mention, Jake Logan, and Stephanie for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.